name is LoeyLane, and I'm so excited to tell you guys about my new podcast, Internet Urban Legends, with my BFF Snitchery.
We deep dive into the darkest corners of the internet to uncover whether some of the most notorious web myths are hoax or whether they're con. Internet Urban Legends, available exclusively on Spotify.
Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Hi, hello. My name is Loey. Today I have a paranormal update for you all. It's been almost a year since the last time that I talked to you guys about the paranormal activity in my house. This is going to be such an update. I honestly should have filmed like 3 of these videos by now, but I haven't. So I'm going to do everything I can to catch you up to speed in this video, and it's going to be a doozy. Before we get started, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Care Of. Care Of is a convenient subscription service that delivers high quality nutritional supplements like vitamins, powders, and more to your home. If you're anything like me, you've probably spent a lot of time in the vitamin aisle trying to figure out what you may actually need and what could benefit you in your diet. And Care Of kind of does all of that hard guesswork for you. By taking their quick quiz, which will ask you about your lifestyle, diet, and health goals, you can easily find the best nutritional supplements and vitamins to fit your routine. I'm a big fan of Care Of for a lot of reasons, but number one, I love the packaging. I love that I can take it with me on the go so that I never miss my vitamins, and the packaging, these little packets, are compostable. I've been taking these vitamins for a couple of weeks now, and I've already noticed such a tremendous improvement in my overall mood and energy levels. I'm taking iron, which I've always known that I was low in, and I've never actually taken before. I don't know why. It's always just been a vitamin that's kind of intimidated me. It was nice to know it was actually recommended for me and is portioned out perfectly for me to take every single day. I also got rhodiola. It's a vitamin I haven't been very familiar with, but it has had wondrous effects. Also on a daily basis, I'm taking their Care Of collagen powder, and this is the lemon passion fruit flavor. Oh my God, it tastes amazing. I like to take collagen whenever I can, so it's nice to have it in a powder form that's delivered exactly when I need it. If you guys are interested in Care Of, I'll have a link for you down below, and you can use my code, which is LoeyLane50, to get 50% off of your first order of Care Of. Once again, click the link down below, take the quiz to find out your personalized vitamin needs, and use my code LoeyLane50 at checkout to get 50% off of your first order of Care Of. Thanks to Care Of for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get into the story. So I took a look back at my last haunted house update, and it was in December of last year, because I was like, where did I even leave off with everything that has happened? And it's so crazy because at the time, like, number one, I was struggling so badly at the end of last year. I'm really happy and proud to say that I'm in a much better frame of mind. It was kind of hard to watch me in that video because I talked a lot about my mental health and how I think that that was sort of affecting my mood. I had to take a pretty substantial break from YouTube in the beginning of the year, and I'm still kind of trying to find my groove back. So I guess in a way it's sort of nice to see a bit of personal growth, even if maybe none of you ever would have noticed it. I just think that I am much happier than I was during that time. That to say, the paranormal activity in my house kind of died down a lot at the beginning of last year. Not very much was happening other than my house ghost Paul. And Paul, if you're unfamiliar, is my ghost who came with this house. When I was younger, we got a farmhouse that came with an outdoor cat with 3 kittens, and we named her Rome. It's kind of like the same thing, except he is a man and he died here. Not that him dying here is funny, it's just funny, the stark contrast between kittens and then ghost. I'm going to jump straight ahead through the entire first part of this year into right now in September, because what has been going on the last couple of weeks is really, it's just like unfathomably crazy. And then I'm going to dial it back and tell you what I think it all is, or what it could correlate from, because of other experiences I had in like the spring. I went ghost hunting for the first time in a very long time last month, and I went to the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. I stayed in Marilyn Monroe's room. I've already done a video there before, but I wanted to revisit. It's been so many years, and I wanted to see if we got any other activity. I've been sitting on that footage because ever since that ghost hunting experience, nothing has been the same for me in my own home. And I wanted to film kind of like the outro of that video, just being like, oh, hey, it's been like a week and like this happened and this happened and this happened, or nothing happened. And it was crazy because so much was happening and it just kept happening. So I was like, there was no way to end off that video. But I did go ghost hunting, and I will say, I don't know if I just kind of opened the floodgates for activity. I don't know if it's something else that I'll tell you about later in this video. But after I went ghost hunting in the Roosevelt Hotel, not very much happened that night. We got a little bit of some stuff on camera, but ever since then, things have never been the same in my house. The first experiences I really picked up on were just constantly seeing shadows out of the corners of my eyes. And I feel like that's something everyone experiences at some point. I also have stress-induced hallucinations, and I will often hallucinate bugs that are not there. And so I was just like, this is not real. Like, this is very much so, I'm just seeing things, you know? But something that has really, really changed is that I don't really live alone anymore. My brother and his girlfriend, I have been hosting them here for goodness, like 3 months now. They weren't supposed to stay this long, but then before they were going to fly home to Georgia, I got COVID and they just wound up kind of staying here, and we've been having a really good time. It's been really nice to spend some time with family. My brother and I are working on a really big project together as well, and so it's just all been amazing. I've been having a really good time. However, the thing about not living alone anymore was there were now people to back up the things that I was saying. There were other people in the house who also said that they were seeing shadows out of the corner of their eyes, that things in the house didn't feel quite right. And then this is going to be so hard to explain in delicate terms, and I'm giving a massive trigger warning here for talk of dead animals. It'll only be for a bit and I will try to breeze past it, but this is an integral part to this story. Recently, and this has happened on 3 separate occasions, well, 4, I guess, but one time, thank God, the animal was okay. Dead animals keep appearing in my backyard. The first time that it happened, I was sitting outside with the dogs, and it was maybe like 9 p.m., so it wasn't that late. And we have possums and animals that kind of like come into my yard, not even in my yard though, it's more like on the fence. Like, I've never actually seen an animal in my yard prior to this ever, except my own small herd. But the first time it happened, I saw my dogs. They got a hold of a possum that it was like a little tiny baby possum. I freaked out. I got them inside. The possum was luckily just playing dead, gave him food and water, made sure that he was okay. You know, I didn't touch him or anything like that, but I wanted to make sure that after an ordeal where my dogs were sitting there gumming on him, thank God they had not bitten or anything like that. But when they were sitting there, you know, playing with him like he was a toy, that he would be okay. And then maybe a week and a half later it happened again, except this time the possum was just gone. I assumed my dogs had gotten a hold of the possum, and as I was putting it into a blanket and getting it ready for animal control to come, I realized that there were no bite marks on it. Nothing was on this animal. There was no blood, no anything like that. It wasn't my dogs that killed it. And I thought that was strange, but that maybe it was this big heat wave that we're having in California. And then a couple of days later, there was a big dead rat in my backyard, which felt really weird because my brother came out as it was dying, like came out to my yard as it was going. And I had just been talking with my friend about us potentially getting pet rats together. So it felt really weird. And then it happened a third time with another rat. Both times with the rats, I found them as they were dying, and there was nothing I could do but scoop them up after it had happened. It happened so fast. They came into my yard to go. So I'm cleaning up dead animal bodies on a fairly regular basis. My mental health has not been in a great place because of that. I will say I am still better than I was in December, but what I will tell you is that has not been good for the psyche as someone who loves animals much more than people. You might be thinking to yourself, there's an easy explanation for this. Your neighbors have out poison. Something is happening to these animals. They're dying of heat exhaustion. All of which could be true, but because of the things that wound up happening after, this whole phenomena of dead animals appearing in my backyard started, I'm not so sure that I believe that anymore. I'm not convinced that this was just natural selection or anything like that. Number one, my neighbors have all confirmed that they don't keep out poison. I've asked multiple people in my neighborhood. No one else has had this happen. Once again, the animals are coming into my yard to pass. And it just feels sick. It feels like this sick, like bad, I guess I'd say like an omen, but I didn't know what to call it. They're always going without bite marks or scratches, and their bodies are like warm as I pick them up and call somebody to come and get them. And I'm just like, I've been crying all the time. I've just been beside myself because, again, I love animals. It makes me so sad that this is happening, and I am not good with death at all, especially not with pets, but not even just pets, just like any animal. I literally, it makes me nauseous to my core to even like consider, because it makes me like so sad. And the first night that it happened, I will tell you that I had a big breakdown. When I found the first possum, not the one that was okay and was just playing dead and he was all right, when I realized the first possum was really gone and I was waiting for animal control and I'm just crying my eyes out, when I finally fell asleep that night, I had sleep paralysis for the first time in a very long time. And it's gonna be kind of hard to explain this because I'm in the room that it happened in and I'm so creeped out. Essentially, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was laying down. I always sleep on this side of the bed, right here. I sleep right here on top of my squishmallow that my friend Emma got me. So I'm laying here and I wake up and I realize I can't move. And I'm kind of like looking around my room, and then right over here, right over in this part of my room, there's a man. He is very tall. I have relatively short ceilings in certain parts of my house because it's pretty old and people weren't as tall as they are now back in the 20s, 1920s. So this man was kind of like hunched over like this so he could stand comfortably. He looked, like, now that I can think about it, he looked ridiculous. I'm roasting the ghost, I am. He had on this massive top hat. Like, think, if you know what the Hatbox Ghost looks like from Disneyland, think that, like a caricature of someone, but just this gigantic top hat, these big, long cloaks or whatever, and that was all I could see. He was mostly dark, and then I could see his face, and it was really pale, almost like translucent, and he was just glaring at me. He had the nastiest, meanest look on his face, and he was just staring at me, watching me as I'm going through sleep paralysis. And I just keep looking at him. He doesn't move towards me, thank God. He just stands in my room and stares at me, glares at me, until I can finally get up. And I was so panicked, I fell, like out of the bed, like fell. I'm like smashing into my cat tree. And when I finally look back over here, he's not there anymore. The important thing to know is that I didn't tell anyone that this happened. I didn't tell my family, I didn't tell my, friends, I didn't tell anybody. Because after that happened, it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. I couldn't go back to sleep. And so I stayed up all night. Then by the time that everyone else in my house, my brother and his girlfriend are finally awake later in the morning, it's like it's kind of old news at that point, I don't know if that makes any sense, but I also didn't really want to freak them out because they're staying in my house. And then that leads up to where my brother saw something eerily similar to what I just described. But I'm going to tell you a few things that happened between that experience and the next one. I have some notes here so that I don't forget, and now that I'm like remembering this incident, I'm just like, oh my god, this scared the crap out of me. So my office, I kind of have it out in like the main part of my house, and it's sort of like a good little watch zone. Like I have these optional window doors that I can pull closed so I can still see everything that's going on, but still have some privacy and a little bit of quiet while I work. So I saw my brother's girlfriend walk through the living room, and she said she was going to the bathroom. I was like, okay, we were actually playing Dead by Daylight this night. That was why I was in there. I wasn't even working. I was like playing video games with them on my computer, and they were playing like out in the living room. So she walks past me to go to the bathroom, and she's not in there for very long when suddenly I see her come back out. I never saw her face, but I saw her come back out, walk to the living room, and I just didn't think anything of it until the toilet flushes about 5 seconds later, and she comes out of the bathroom again. And I realized that she had never walked past me before. I told her about this much later, and she was very, very freaked out. But at the time, I was just like, I have to be imagining this. This cannot be real. Like, I'm exhausted. There is no way that that just happened. There was also an experience, and this scares me so bad, where I saw my dog Maka waiting for me at the back door, but she was asleep at my feet. And when I got up to see if it was one of the other dogs, I realized all 4 of them were inside, and I looked back and there was no dog there, despite the fact that I had just seen one. This is all happening within the span of like a week and a half, maybe like 2 weeks. Just like little things like this are happening. My stuff is going missing. I'm seeing shadows. All of these other bigger experiences are happening to me. Then one of the rats dies in the backyard. I'm pretty torn up about it. I'm sitting in my living room just like crying, sitting there crying about the dead rat, because I love rats. If you have a pet rat, actually, can you send me a picture on Twitter or DM it to me on Instagram or something? I think rats are such cool freaking pets, and it makes me so sad that all I've seen of them lately has been their bodies in my yard. So I'm upset about that. I'm sitting on the couch, I'm talking to Christian. And the way that my living room works is that I have one couch that's kind of like this way. I have another couch that's like this way. So, you know, like, what is that, perpendicular? Then behind this couch, behind the couch that I'm on, is this big gold mirror that I have. This mirror is one of the only things that I still have from my former apartment that was featured on BuzzFeed Unsolved, the one that was like just ridiculously haunted, and there was activity around that mirror specifically. However, I'd never had anything weird happen with it since, and so you have to imagine how freaked out I was when I was sitting there talking to my brother, and suddenly he looks past me and he just goes like pale as a freaking ghost. And I'm like, what just happened? Are you okay? I'm looking over my shoulder. I don't see anything. And he said, I don't know how to tell you this. Oh my God, my heart's pounding. But I just saw a woman in the mirror behind you, but she's not there anymore. And immediately I was like jumping up to turn the mirror around. And I was like, what did she look like? And he said, well, she had really long dark hair and she had like dark clothes, and I couldn't see anything except really for her face. And she looked so mean in the face, and her face was like this white translucent color, but all I know is she just looked so mad. And as I'm turning the mirror around, I realize that it is exactly on the other side of the wall from where I had the sleep paralysis dream about the man who looked exactly like Christian is describing this woman, that I didn't tell anyone about. So immediately I'm like, okay, we get rid of the mirror. The mirror does not stay here any longer. The mirror goes into the guest house and it lives there. It freaked me out to no end that I hadn't told a single soul, and I know that I didn't tell anyone about the sleep paralysis that I had. I had it about someone standing right there. And then on the other side of the wall, Christian sees a woman who basically looks exactly the same as the man that I saw. Christian thought it was a really extreme reaction that I was like, we're burning the mirror, kids. You know, not burning it, but I was like, we're getting rid of it. He thought that was really extreme until I explained that I had had that sleep paralysis experience exactly parallel to where he saw something. I went to bed that night and I had not moved the mirror outside. It's pretty heavy. I'd sort of just put it with like the mirrored part facing a wall. I was like, I will deal with this tomorrow. You know, it's a pretty stable, heavy mirror. It had never fallen over before, and it had never really been latched into place. And even though like we have earthquakes and stuff in California, it's never moved really. So the mirror is against a wall, and in the middle of the night, I hear this huge crash. I get up, I run out. My AC just picked up, if you can hear that. I get up and I run out of my room, and the mirror is on the ground. And my pets are all around it, like sniffing it. And I was like, I have no idea what just knocked over this mirror. But if one of my pets is hit by this mirror, it's going to be a big problem. Like, they could get hurt. So I decide then and there that it's time to take it outside. I just put it on the back porch. I leave it there and I go back to bed. It's like 2 a.m. as this is happening. I go back to bed. And during the night, I see something move behind the curtains. And what's weird is a lot of you have talked about this side of my room. Now, I have an AC unit in there now, but this is something that you really wouldn't have seen before. It literally just got put in. And before, a lot of people would always tell me they could see something over in this area. They would see the curtain shift. They felt like a man's presence in that area. What's weird is it's not just one of you guys. It's been multiple of you who have all said the exact same thing. So that night I see those curtains move and I'm like, nope. Absolutely not. I'm going right to bed. Thank you very much. I will not be participating. I take my weight melatonin and magnesium. I don't recommend. I only took like 2 melatonin gummies. Don't actually take too much melatonin. It's very bad for you. And so I do that. I go to bed. I wake up in the morning to someone knocking on my door. And I go out and it's my brother. He was just knocking on my bedroom door and I was like, hey, what's up? And he said, I don't know how to tell you this, but the mirror fell over in front of the back door and we can't get out of the house. We can't let the dogs out. And I was like, what do you mean? And he explained to me that it had fallen in such a way where it was literally blocking us from opening up the back door. The mirror had trapped us inside of the house. Luckily, I have a side door. I went outside, I cleaned up the mirror, cleaned up any extra broken glass so that my dogs didn't get hurt, and I'm gonna take a photo of it while I still have it so you guys can see it. And that was really that. I cleansed my house, and to be totally honest with you, aside from just feeling kind of watched in certain moments or seeing a shadow out of the corner of my eye or something, I haven't felt anything crazy and neither has anyone else in the house. What's weird though is pretty much since my last video, Paul, my house ghost, he doesn't do his whole walking through the house all the time routine that he used to. When I say it's been quiet, it's been like kind of eerily quiet. Not even with the good kind of spiritual energy in my home. I did a lot to protect myself and to cleanse this space though, because I don't know what that all means between being sent like 3 dead animals and then me and my brother seeing the exact same like demonic, I guess, esque thing in the same exact spot. Ultimately though, things are a lot quieter, hopefully for the better. I forgot to mention, but I did have an experience where I was filming and you can see me turn around here. I felt something move behind me. Thought it was my cat, but nothing was there. Then I heard this popping sound. Is it possible that this was a movie? I was really confused and kind of just kept filming here, but you can see how lost I look literally in the moment. Is it possible that this was a movie set that is... And here I kept seeing something out of the corner of my eye where I thought I saw the man in the sleep paralysis, and I'm freaked out to the point where I'm trying to calm myself down. That being said, there was another experience that I had back in April that I never told you guys about. When this happened in April, I was sleeping in my guest room for some reason. It was during one of the very rare times this year that I have not hosted someone, between my friend Julie earlier this year, then my friend Nate, who you guys all know, and then my brother and Victoria. I've just been like, it's been like a hotel up in here, okay? So it was one of those very rare seasons. Oh my God, also Eleanor lived here for like months. How could I have forgotten that? My house, I've not been alone for a lot of this year. So one of those rare times I'm not hosting somebody, I was sleeping in my guest room. I think it was because I was going somewhere and my room was just trashed. When I pack, I tear everything apart. It's genuinely a problem. So I'm sleeping in there and I kind of go into that area, which I'm not in, I guess, that much otherwise, if it's otherwise occupied. So maybe this is why this has never happened to me before, but I'm going to that area and I get this feeling as I'm walking through the hallway to look over. I look over and I see what looks like a child standing in a corner with their head against the wall as though they're in timeout. I see this really quickly and then it's gone. I recorded a spirit box session that night, and I say recorded because I recorded it on my camera. I also, of course, went through the whole experience with the spirit box, and the footage is just gone. It's not on the SD card anymore. I never would have deleted it. The SD card is also just fine that it would have been on. I've checked all of my devices and the access that I had to that footage was gone within the week. I don't know if something happened to the file, if it was corrupt, or if it's obviously something else. And I can do a spirit box session here in the house for you guys if you want some time, just to see if we get anything, because the 2 times that I have done it here, once when I met Paul and once when I had this experience, have both been like crazy, and I've had so much chatter coming through the device. So I reach out and I'm like, hello, Who did I just see standing in the corner in timeout? And I heard the voice of a kid come through. Basically, it just said hello. I asked if it would give me its name, and it told me no. And that was totally fine. And they were very soft-spoken, very quiet, didn't have much to say, always answered in like one-word answers. But I felt really sad as I was conducting the spirit box session. I was like, this just feels really heavy, it feels really sad, like I just feel sad, which I assumed came from that spirit. And it's interesting because to me, I could always tell that it was the spirit of someone young and kind of feminine. You know what I mean? Like I could just always feel that in the way that they talked, in the way that I saw them, and in just everything. But suddenly as I'm having the spirit box session, a man's voice comes through, and it's like this man who keeps saying, my son, my boy, my son, my boy, like saying the exact same thing over and over. And I'm like, who is this? And I get the response, the father. And I asked if they had lived here before, to which I got the response that yes, they had lived here before. I didn't get an exact time frame because during that conversation, immediately once I start talking to the father, I feel, even remembering this, I feel awful. It felt so heavy and nasty and just like that experience that I had where I was having the sleep paralysis and I saw a man scowling at me over here. I was having like that exact same feeling, except, you know, I'm just talking through the spirit box. I'm not seeing anything. As the father is talking, I hear that child voice kind of like piping in like every now and then, but I can never make out what they're saying. So I say, I want to talk to them again. And I ask them, are you a boy? Are you his son? And the spirit box told me no. And I asked if this was a girl that I was talking to, and they said yes. To which the male spirit suddenly comes back and is like, my boy, my son. So now I'm dealing with transphobic ghost who is tormenting their child in the freaking afterlife, putting them into timeout and telling me all about their boy. And so I tell the father, I'm like, hey, you can kick rocks, dude. Like, this is my kid now. I've got them. I'm taking care of them. Goodbye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, you know? And when this all happened, I was just like, can ghosts be homophobic? I literally was asking people around me, like, can they not like, can they carry this degree of hate into their afterlife? And everyone I was talking to was like, yeah, yes, that happens quite often. I was traveling and or sick for a lot of the summer, and so I did not talk to this spirit again and have not since. I also have not seen them, haven't had any other experiences. The father, I keep putting that in quotations because it's weird to refer to the father. I don't know, it feels very weird, but that spirit was very mad when I told it, like, get out, goodbye, don't let the door hit you on the way out, you know, like, that's my child now, you don't talk about them like that, you respect them. And I didn't really have anything happen until Pride Month. And I am very loud and proud bisexual. I talk about my sexuality quite openly. And during Pride Month, I was having PR packages and a lot of stuff come in. I hung up my pride flag. You know, I'm doing all of the gay things every single day without fail. My pride flag would be on the floor, no matter what. I would hang it up with command hooks, and it has like the little, it's almost like a shower curtain, or like the curtains that I have where they have like the grommets where you put things through them. I was hooking it up every single day. It was a lightweight flag. It would stay put throughout the entire day. There's no airflow in this area. Every single day it would be on the floor. Every single day without fail. My Pride PR packages, something would always happen. Let's say I was sent like a Pride package from Morphe at one point. They sent 2 Pride eyeshadow palettes. Both of them were destroyed in different ways. The box like fell over before I even opened it. One of the Pride palettes was destroyed. I was like, no worries, I'll use the other one. That Pride palette got soaked one day by an unknown liquid that I am still not sure what in the world it was, and nothing else in my vanity was wet. I am still so deeply confused. But I was getting in shirts, I was getting in baking kits, I was getting in all of this Pride stuff, all of this Pride related merchandise, or just, you know, PR boxes. That's what companies do during Pride Month. They try to sell us stuff. And I don't mind being the receiver of many a gay gift. It's only ever my Pride packages that are getting destroyed, and it's never happened again. Like, they were falling over in weird ways that they shouldn't have fallen over. Items inside of them were breaking. I would open up one, I remember there was this one from The Way. I got this t-shirt from them. It had like a rainbow flower on it and stuff. And I opened up the package. I'm like, I love this shirt. It's beautiful. I can't wait to wear it. I wear it one time and it gets snagged in my dryer. Nothing I've ever owned has gotten snagged in my dryer like this before, and a giant hole is ripped in it. So I don't know if what's happening now is that spirit that I felt before that was very angry and oppressive, or if this is something that I brought with me from the Roosevelt Hotel, or a mix of both. What I will tell you is that I am being very careful to protect myself, to protect my house, to protect my pets. And look, I'm not sitting here saying that we don't have a heat wave, but there have been a lot of freak incidents with animals around me lately, and I will never tolerate that to another one of my pets. So if you're wondering if I'm being safe, being careful, I am taking every single precaution to protect my animals. Not really that concerned about myself. I don't mind being up and sleepless and freaked out. It just gives me more stories to tell you guys. But I will never, ever in a million years let anything or anyone harm my babies. I don't know what to think leaving this video. I don't know what to even conclude it with, except that I have to know what you all have to say about this one. It's been a while since I've uploaded a personal paranormal story time, so I hope this kind of scratched the itch if you were missing my personal videos. But if you think you know what kind of ghost, I guess, that this is, or anything like that, let me know down below, because I'm truly at a loss. In 29 years, never quite had something like this happen to me. That being said, thanks for watching. I want to say a big thank you to my subscriber Dean for being a member of this channel. If you want to join my channel memberships, get extra members exclusive perks, including members only videos, updates, posts, and polls, and helping me decide on video topics, and so much more, you can click that little join button. It should be somewhere around the screen. We would love to have you. For now, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you very, very much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!